Walking off the practice fields today, an unnamed wide receiver said to one of his teammates, "Boy, the defense took an ass whipping today."
Okay, all right.
And that pretty much summed up what we saw inside the indoor practice facility today. Florida State football had their last practice today, Wednesday, before going over to Jacksonville for a couple days. They're in the middle of a 6-day stretch, a pretty grueling stretch, which is why they worked mostly indoors today. But, man, it was an offensive explosion. Jordan Travis and Tate Rodemaker both looked very good. Johnny Wilson looked great. But Jordan particularly, I thought it was Mike Norvell wouldn't say it was his best day of camp, but I thought it was. What did you think, Corey?
Yeah, it definitely was his best day of camp. And like Norvell said, and I agree with this, he hadn't had bad days. Yeah. It's not like, what was that, Jordan? 7 interceptions. He wasn't doing that. It hadn't looked quite like this. That last drive in particular just ripped it down the field, even took a sack. Derek McClendon had a great rush off the edge and got a sack. And then I think it was the next play, he makes that throw to either Pittman or it was Pittman. So Pittman made a great contested catch. That's what he does in the end zone, man. He goes and fights for it. He had a couple of touchdowns today from Jordan Travis. Really tough contested catches and in not open windows. But Jordan ripped it and he caught it. And then I thought the throw he made to Keyshawn Helton is. Yeah. I mean, I was talking with Florida State legend Corey Simon on the sidelines right when that happened, and I'm like, that was some Pat Mahomes-esque. I guess we can cuss. Ira, you let the cat out of the bag there at the beginning.
I think the A word's a little different than the S word,
well,
but go ahead, go for it.
No, I'm not going to do it. But that was obviously Jordan Travis is not Pat Mahomes. Don't get it twisted. But that was a Mahomesian or Mahomes-esque. I don't know what the adjective would be.
Chiefs colors on, so
I do. Yeah, that's right. It was an incredible play. Steps up in the pocket, 21 yards, around a linebacker, in between 3 defensive backs. To Keyshawn Helton it was just an incredible play. It was just rolling to us. It was unbelievable. But it wasn't that. It wasn't just that. It was the simple throws, the quick throws. And then, so I thought he was the star. I thought he was great all day, by far the best day he's had. But then Johnny Wilson, again, he had a really nice day on Tuesday. He came back today and was exceptional. Exceptional, man. You start to think, okay, this guy's a matchup problem. If he can play like this, nobody has something like this. He could actually be a legitimate matchup problem.
Well, one of the deep balls he caught today, he literally just ran by a cornerback.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of, and Mike Norvell said this afterwards, he's not just a tall receiver. He's 6'7", which is impressive. He's got a good frame, but he's outrunning some people, and he runs good routes. But going back to the throw to Pittman from Jordan Travis, the throw was great. But also, Micah Pittman, man, he was between Jamie Robinson and Shaheem Brown. Yeah. And they're both coming full speed at him, and he gets clocked as he catches it. And, man, just never phased. Perfect throw, perfect catch, perfect throw. And that was kind of the day for the offense. But that next drive, again, what kind of has you excited about this offense, if anything, if Jordan has to miss any time at any point during the season, Tate Rodemaker gets the next series and goes right down the field. And that Johnny Wilson, 3 straight catches, one for about 20, one for about maybe 30, down to the 1-yard line, then catches a fade for a touchdown where he just snatches the ball from a DB. I mean, it's exactly, man, it's used every inch of his 6'7" frame. Tate threw a pretty good ball, and Johnny just makes the catch.
So you see days like this, and it's one day, and there's nobody watching except us, and it's in an indoor practice facility. It's not back there behind us. So we have to see that. We have to see those kind of plays when it matters. But when you see those kind of plays, specifically from those 2 wide receivers, you're like, okay, maybe they can be dynamic, not overall dynamic. They're not going to have a dynamic passing game, but they can have dynamic moments or dynamic games because they haven't had, in my opinion, 2 guys like this that are just playmakers, I mean, Micah Pittman's proven it now in the spring. I thought this was one of his best days. But he goes, when it's close to the goal line, when he's in the end zone, he makes the catch and it's a touchdown. Now, again, we'll see what it looks like in there. Johnny Wilson, though, if this is what he can be, like I didn't know what he could be, honestly, we didn't. But if this is what he can be, I'd guess he had 7 for 130 today. I mean, it was nuts. And
the way he finished the practice, because that was one of the things in the spring. They said conditioning was a bit of an issue for him, and his practices wore on. The fatigue sometimes affected his ability to focus and catch the ball. But, man, some of his best plays were at the very end of practice. Yeah. This wasn't the toughest practice because they were indoors. But, man, it's impressive to close out a practice the way he did with those kinds of effort plays. The other thing that's impressive about the offense having a day like this is, we've talked about it now for a week, they have been a little bit shorthanded on the offensive line and got some really bad news. I mean, I think, just kind of put a pall on what was a really cool day for the offense. Mike Norvell announced after practice today that center Kayden Lyles is going to be out for the year. There were some rumors about it. He did get hurt last week. he is going to be out for the year. They're still talking about what his future holds. But, you can tell it really affected Mike Norvell, not just because he's a center who might win the starting job or be the number 2 center, but just because what he's meant to the team since he got here from Wisconsin this spring.
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. We've been doing this for a long time, both of us. We've covered a team that's had multiple season-ending injuries. I've never seen a guy that has a season-ending injury that comes out to practice dressed in full pads. And when you hear about a rumor that so-and-so might be out for the year, but he's coming out to practice in full pads, it's natural to think, well, I guess he's not out for the year. But he is out for the year. He didn't just show up in sweatpants. He was out here in full pads. And I asked Norvell about that. Like, that's just odd. I shouldn't say bizarre as if it's a bad thing. I don't want to have a negative connotation. It's very unusual.
Not usual.
And he said, yeah, man, that's just how much he loves the team. He's into the team. That he wants to be out here, he wants to be participating as much as possible, even though he can't participate in the season, and even though we don't know for sure that he could play next season. He still wants to be invested in this season. I think that does say a lot about, it says a little bit probably about the culture that's been built. I think it says a lot more about Kayden Lyles. He's only been here for 6 months, and he's so invested that he comes out in full pads when he knows he can't play.
And I also think it's a good lesson for players around the country, because when Kayden Lyles transferred into Florida State, a lot of people felt like, okay, you're bringing in this Wisconsin offensive lineman, Maurice Smith's days are done.
Right.
But Alex Atkins has praised Maurice Smith ever since Kayden Lyles came.
Right.
He said he was like, welcome to competition. And Maurice Smith has gotten better since Kayden Lyles has been here. He's gotten bigger and stronger, and looks like he's going to have perhaps his best season. And a lot of kids in that situation may pack it in and enter the portal. And Maurice Smith didn't do that. He's still here. And they've got other options at center. Not as many good options as Kayden Lyles behind Maurice Smith, but they have worked Thomas Schrader there. Darius Washington has played there before. Yeah. They also have been working. They've got a walk-on that they played some, but they've been working some other guys there. Actually, Dylan Gibbons has played some center before. So they've got 5 or 6 guys that they are working at center. But it's definitely a big blow to lose Kayden Lyles.
It's a loss. He was brought here to play a lot, probably. We don't know if he was ever going to start necessarily. He hadn't won the job by any means. But yeah, that's you want the depth. You have more depth, but you still, that's a blow. Like you can have all the depth you want. When you lose a guy like that, a 5th-year senior, it's that's a tough one. That's a toughie. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see the orange on my hands. I talk with my hands a lot. I apologize for that. Okay, well,
but
there you go.
He feels the need.
Well, I don't want people to be like, why is all that crap on Corey's hand? But either way, it was a Mio. It was a Mio. It was a Mio explosion. I got some in the water bottle, most on my hand, so I apologize for that.
Looks like you robbed a bank.
It does, yeah. The cash blew up on me.
This is the last day in Tallahassee. For a couple days, they're going to go to Jacksonville, practice over there at UNF's campus Thursday and Friday. The practices are not open to the public, so if you're a Florida State fan living in Jacksonville, you can't just show up. Unless maybe you put your name on a building or something. You write a big check.
You do whatever you want then.
They might bring you out to practice.
Bring in a big offensive lineman or a quarterback, you can do whatever you want.
Mike Norvell said the big thing they want to accomplish there is just bring the team together. They have some team functions they'll be doing, get away from some distractions that happen in Tallahassee, plus also, got to go through the rigors of practicing in a tougher situation than what they have here. They don't have an indoor facility, don't have a lot of shade. It gets pretty nasty.
Tiny dorm rooms.
Small dorm rooms with twin beds, he said.
It's like they're Junction Boys.
Good luck with that, Johnny Wilson.
It's like they're Junction Boys thing.
A little bit different. But Corey and Aslan will be over there in Jacksonville. They have complete coverage at warchant.com. You guys are doing a live show from Jacksonville?
Tomorrow night, Thursday night.
Evening.
Yep, Thursday night, doing a live show, probably from Aslan's hotel room.
That'd be awesome. Yep. Hopefully you guys will not dress down. Be in your robes. Break out the robes.
I'll have my pipe. I usually bring my pipe on the road, especially when I'm in Jacksonville.
And stay tuned.
A corncob pipe. I mean, I'm smoking tobacco, guys.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Stay tuned. Jeff Cameron show later today. Wake up Warchant in the morning and complete coverage from over in Jacksonville. For warchant.com, this is Corey Clark and Ira Schoffel.
$1, subscribe.
$1, subscribe.
What's the matter with you if you haven't done it already? You could get this for the whole year, because we're like this when we write too.
I'm going to start taking dollar bills out of my wallet, throwing them like I'm at
There's
the club.
a subscription.
You know what I'm saying,
There's
Corey?
a subscription, yep.
All right, warchant.com, we're out.